Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to And Unity for All. Today I am going to be discussing something that's a bit more in my field, being a nurse for the last 20 plus years. And I'm going to be talking about Medicare for All. This one's going to be a little bit longer than usual. So, Medicare for All, universal payer, what are they, single payer, we're talking about pretty much the same thing across the board. So don't get thrown off by the terms. A lot of people try to use different terms just to skew the argument. Just don't bother with it. Okay, we're talking about a system that would be preferably overseen payment-wise by the government, and so all of our money goes into a central pool. The fact of the matter is that Medicare for All, that's the term I'm going to use, would reduce the cost of medical care by as much as half. I'll get into why in just a minute. Now let me clarify. I am not against insurance companies. Insurance companies have actually done some very good things over the years with the quality of medical care. If not for insurance companies, we would not have seen laparoscopic surgery becoming common, laser surgeries, preventative care, advanced imaging, post-discharge care, screening tools for radiology, and chart reviews to ensure that the right care is being given for a particular illness. Oversight is absolutely necessary. You need reviews because, trust me, as a nurse, I will tell you, and I have worked in pre-certification for radiology studies, doctors will order the wrong tests and the wrong treatments all the time. So it's best if someone is overseeing this and reviewing what the care being given is. Now, while I give credit to insurance, a lot of what they have done has been driven by requirements handed down to them by Medicare and Medicaid. And it started with Medicare and Medicaid patients and then just went across the board to other insured people when it was proven that this was the best standard and produced the best outcome. What I am most against with insurance companies is their profit model. We keep seeing increasing premiums, increasing deductibles, executive salaries, and bonus packages. Most of what they do is to increase their profit and their stock price. And they will do that, and they continuously do this at the cost of the care that is provided to the patient. So, and then they have crossover investments that most people are not aware of. You've got crossover investments between insurance companies, drug companies, and for-profit prison systems, and the military-industrial complex. Well, we'll go into that in another video. All right, so how would Medicare for All decrease costs? Well, number one, advertising. You turn on the news every day and you see ads for drugs, insurance companies, medical facilities, and who's paying for that? You are paying for that. When you pay your insurance premium, you are paying for that. And it costs tens of millions, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars per day for them to put that advertising in your face. All that money that's being spent on advertising is not being spent on patient care. It's not being paid on your care when you go to the doctor. So, of course, who's collecting the money? The media. The media is collecting the money, so of course they're going to tell you how great the current system is and how bad Medicare for All would be for you. Because they're making a fortune. Yeah. You add up CEO, executive salaries, advertising, bonus packages, all of this stuff, and it literally goes into the trillions of dollars a year that are not being spent on care for the patients. All right. Other things that would decrease the cost of medical care. Less documentation. Right now, a hospital or a doctor has to provide different documentation, different billing practices to dozens or hundreds of medical insurance companies. And each one can have different criteria for billing. And then, of course, you wind up with double billing, where the insurance company pays the facility or the doctor, and then you get a bill for what the insurance already paid. Yeah, that's all kinds of fun. That would be another place where it would decrease the cost of medical care, because then you have a much easier route to covering fraud, waste, and abuse. So you would have one set of standards for any test, treatment, etc. Of course, there would still be private doctors that you could go to and pay out of pocket. But, if you don't like one doctor, you can still go to another doctor if you don't agree with them, or you can request a review. The standards for treatment would be a lot more transparent. Try to get an answer out of an insurance company on why a treatment or a test was refused. Just try. You'll spend so much time and get the runaround. If we have one set of standards, that whole set of standards could be published where you could look it up yourself. So you'd have centralized records instead of dozens and dozens of different submissions. It all comes down to one. Let's see. You would have increased preventative care, because Medicare and Medicaid does focus very much on that, and that does decrease the cost of care. If you catch a person that has diabetes in the early stages, or cancer in the early stages, it costs a lot less and it saves more lives and more suffering to catch that in the early stages than to wait until it is in the late stages and requires emergency treatment, possibly a person that is diabetic and didn't know it and winds up in ICU on an insulin drip and with renal failure. It happens all the time, every day. It happens all the time. Of course, you would not have the executive pay or bonuses, little or no advertising. You're not paying for the risky investments. And make no mistake, with those deductibles, let's say that you wind up on a medication that you're going to be on. you have a chronic illness, but you have a $3,000 deductible. You're still paying your insurance premium, but then you have to pay for the entire prescription every month out of pocket. Well, the insurance company is invested in the drug company. So you're paying your premium, you're paying for the drug. The insurance company makes a profit from your premium, and then they make a profit off of their stock in the drug company. And the reverse is true as well. The drug companies invest in the insurance companies. So you wouldn't be paying for that. You are paying for that stock. You're paying for the profit on that stock. All right, so let's see. Oh yes, insurance companies and drug companies making massive donations to campaigns. We've heard about how much both sides of the aisle, both major parties, have received hundreds of millions of dollars from insurance and drug companies, and then they vote for policies that are against your well-being, but the corporations make a killing off of that legislation, those laws. All right, you would have fewer repeat or duplicate exams, because once you have a test done, it goes into a central database. They can't keep saying, oh, well, you need to have this done again because we don't want to use the previous result. If there's a need for a repeat result, and there is some chance that something has changed, yes, definitely. Repeat the test. But you don't need 2 MRIs of the same body part in a week just because 2 different doctors don't want to share the information. All right, so these are just some of the examples of how Medicare for All would decrease the cost of medical care. Like I said, by almost half. It would be so much better to be paying one board of directors, one set of executives, rather than the billions of dollars being paid out. One CEO for one insurance company makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So multiply that by 20, 100 insurance companies, and what do you have? You have lots of money that's not going to medical care, but it's being paid out of your pocket. So these are things to think about when the debate for Medicare for All comes up. Don't listen to the people that are telling you how it would be bad. Oh, sorry, kind of sick today. They will also tell you that it will kill jobs. That's a lie. It will create jobs. When you take tens, hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars per year and put it back in the pocket of consumers, what's going to happen? They're going to spend that money in the economy. What does that do? That creates jobs. The more that people have access to medical care, the more they're going to the doctors. So you're going to increase the number of medical professional jobs. So we're talking about living wage jobs. No, doctors are not going to suddenly be paid 1/10 of what they're being paid now. That's a load of garbage. You might not see billionaire doctors anymore. No more Dr. Oz. Ooh, I hate Dr. Oz. But then what happens when you create those jobs? Then those people have more money to spend in the economy. And when they spend the money in the economy, then you're creating more jobs. And then the more jobs you create, the more it's a cascade effect. If you're not spending the money, if you're not putting all of the money into corporate profits and CEOs' bank accounts, you're creating jobs. The rich do not create jobs. Stop saying that. It's a lie. Consumers create jobs. Consumers that have money to spend create jobs. Money goes from the bottom to the top. It does not go from the top to the bottom, ever. If it goes to the top, it stays at the top. All right, so I'm going to end this here. I'm getting a little bit long with this one. So please be sure and like and subscribe. If you can't afford to, please become a patron on Patreon. And I will talk to you next time.